If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I don't know. I don't belong here. It's oversaturated. Everybody could feel that way. But you have to say, screw that. I belong here. I have my own message, my own mission, my own brand, my own look, like everybody has a place.
Are you an RV person? Or are you just RV life curious, wondering how people live in a tiny space with their family 24/7? Either way, this is a podcast for you. My name is Kate White, and I travel full-time with my family and 2 kids and the dog in an RV. Every week, I sit down either with a fellow RV woman to discuss why she chose RV life and how she has changed on the road, or with a special guest who speaks on a topic relevant to travel life. Pull a chair up to the fire and let's chat. Hello, Sandi, and welcome back to the RV Queens podcast. How are you today?
Thank you so much.
Good. You guys are the Keys, aren't you? I haven't been there before, but I imagine it's the kind of place it's hard to have a bad day when you're there, like in the fall, when the weather's beautiful.
You haven't been here?
No,
oh my gosh,
year,
girl.
We've only been RVing for a year. And last year it was after the hurricane. So all of the RV places, down south, if they weren't destroyed, they were already booked. So
you'll make your way down here. It's worth it. It's worth the wait.
I'm not going to get into a bunch of deep questions about your background because we covered a lot of that the first time you're on the podcast. So listeners can go back a few episodes and catch up on all your crazy stories. Today, we are going to talk about the crazy 18 months that you and Jimmy have had, that basically your life has turned around and you've become professional to the max content creators, or should I say, boss level content creators. Paint the picture for us. How has your life changed over the past 18 months?
We have been long form YouTube creators for many years now, a bunch of years, because we were professional filmmakers. And so it was just natural that when we traveled, we would just make cool videos, put them on YouTube. Shorts weren't even a thing back then. And it was just a passion for us. We just loved doing it. And then from posting on there, we, started to gather a following and a community of awesome people that either are inspired by travel or are traveling as well. And we share stories and all that. Creating content is time consuming. And so after a while, we're like, man, should we turn this into a business? We see people all the time. We see influencers and they're traveling all over the world and they're making a ton of money. And we're like, God, that would just be so cool. But kind of never knew if any of that would ever happen for us. Until 18 months ago, we sort of just got inspired to take it to the next level. And a couple of brands would reach out to us here and there. And we would work with a couple of brands. But we're like, all right, if we are going to do this and really make a go at it, we got to consider this like a business. So that's what we did. 18 months ago, we were literally sitting here in the Keys and we go, let's make a go at it. We had our friends of the Mom Trotter, Family and Nomads, and they're all killing it. And we're like, you know what? Let's try this. So I swear it was like the flip of a switch. We went all in and we had started posting on TikTok. TikTok was starting to grow really, really quick. And we were like, I don't even know how to do this. We didn't even know what the protocol was. How do you reach out to brands? And so we made a list of our dream brands and all the brands we wanted to work with. And we just started DMing them on Instagram and trying to get emails, trying to get contacts and trying to see who to reach out to. Lo and behold, it started to work. We would get the email for the person and we had made a media kit and we would send it out. And we did have a couple of years in where we were creating content. We never took it serious though. So that's a little, thing. If you start from the get-go and you treat it like a business and you want to do this, it would be a different story. It doesn't necessarily have to take years. It's just that was our path because we're filmmakers and made videos. But we literally, and that's why it's very important. If you want to do this seriously, consider it a business because otherwise, I heard somebody say this, it's just a time-consuming hobby and I don't have time for a time-consuming hobby right now. I have 3 kids. We travel full time. It's a lot. We hit it hot and heavy. We were reaching out to brands. Brands now were responding to us and yeah. We started getting these deals all over the place. And it was like that light bulb that went off. Okay, we're here. Let's go. We put the effort out. It was coming back. We were starting to make money from it. And that was it. Like, we were off to the races. And so 18 months later, we've worked with amazing brands. We've made hundreds of thousands of dollars. We've got like crazy partnerships. We have long-term retainers. Like, everything has changed. And it's been an absolute wild ride. Like, we're literally going in 2 weeks on a Disney cruise. We're partnering with Disney, which, I didn't know if Disney would want to work with us. We look a little different. We're not necessarily like the demographic. I always consider, because my hair looks crazy, I have tattoos or whatever. But it's absolutely amazing that the opportunities have come our way because we took this serious as content creators. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this, because I know it works. I know it can happen. And I've seen it happen for other people that started from scratch, that are growing, and like, first 6 months, they're making money. They're doing this because they were very intentional about the content they're putting out.
I have to ask, when you say that you got serious about it, like, are you guys the types that you just like figured it out and started like pumping out content, or did you invest in like courses and mentors, or like, how did you really, when you said you were serious, like, what did that look like for you?
There's a slow track and there's a fast track. Like, let's just be honest. The slow track is you stumble along the way and fumble and try to figure it out. And that's what we had started to do. Like, we wanted to work with brands, but we just didn't know how to go about it. And so we invested in multiple things. Some were flop, some were great. We invested in a pitching course where we learned how to do that. And so that was super helpful. I mean, if you're going to consider this like a career, you do need to invest, because let me tell you, the slow track sucks. I don't like slow. I like going fast. I like knowing what I'm doing. I like to have the tools to be prepared. And so, yeah, definitely invested. And I think that's why it worked so quickly from flipping that switch to going, let's go all in, was because we started lining ourselves up with people that have done this before. And what's the easiest way to learn is you talk to people that have done it before, and then they tell you, okay, do this, don't do that. That's a waste of time. And so, yeah, it was very, very, very helpful.
Well, and I asked that question because I think it's easy for people. And like, I've done this myself. You look at someone who's successful online and I'm just like, well, if I had pink hair and a hot body and like this super fancy toy hauler, it's just like you like justify why that person is successful and you're not. But the reality is, like, you guys have invested in yourselves. You've put in the reps, like you've done a lot of work to get where you are today. And everyone I know, like you too, everyone that we're all familiar with that's successful online has done the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no magic wand.
And there's not like some people are natural at it and like, bing, they just become successful,
I wish that was me. That's not my story though.
Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. I just wanted to put that out there because, in case anyone's listening or watching and they're like, well, of course. No, it's not like that for anyone. It takes work.
It's like musicians, right? It's like, oh, they're overnight success. It's like they have 20 years under their belt performing in seedy venues, and it's like, no, guys, I've been doing this for a while.
Let's talk about content. This is a big topic. I mean, there's all kinds of different content that people can create. Will you talk us through the different types of content that people can create to make money online? So
obviously there's long form on YouTube and then there's shorts. Shorts seriously has blown us up in the past year and a half. We were always long form creators. And when shorts started coming about, I was like, I don't know, what are these shorts? Like, how do you make a short? I knew nothing. But we saw the success that creators were having and with just shorts. And so we're like, well, we should hop on this, like, because it seems like a thing. Shorts are the easiest thing, obviously, like for anybody to create. Shorts are, you could 5 seconds to a minute, and it's just whatever. It's just whether you're vlogging it or, telling a story. Long form is obviously more intense. You need to know how to edit a little bit more. You need to be able to tell a story or something that people is going to captivate people. So yeah, there's a couple of different types of forms, and shorts is like the easiest, obviously. Most people will start with shorts and then dive into long form. Now I feel there's a different different purpose for each. Like shorts are like you want those little quick hits, and long form are where people can really like settle into you and get to know you better. And for us, that was our foundation. And so we built this community of people like watch our kids grow up, And on shorts, it's like little glimpses. So it's like little firecrackers of whatever, But I think the shorts are a great way for people to see, like, do I like this person? Do I want to watch more of their content? Because long form, you're invested. Like, people are invested to, like, if it's a 15-minute video, do I really want to sit here for 15 minutes and watch this person? I don't know, So shorts are a great way to get people into your long form content.
For you and Jimmy specifically, and kind of like how you've grown over the past 18 months, how do you guys think about short form and long form? Like, how do you prioritize what you're working on?
So shorts are way easier to make. And so we can create a ton more shorts. And so we prioritize those because you can cover so many different topics. Like the way that we look at content is we have different pillars of things that we cover, right? And so our channel, we're family travel vloggers. We RV full time. But within that, we have 3 kids. And so we show RV life with kids, how we educate our kids, RV hacks here and there, the mother-daughter dances, the travel day surprise. Like we have a bunch of different things that we make content about. And so within those, we have 10 to 20 ideas in each pillar that we'll create content on. And so that makes creating shorts really easy because it's like a strategy that we have. Long form, we just do one long form a week. It's way easier. Jimmy pretty much handles that. I handle all the shorts. And so we try to be consistent with one long form a week. And then the shorts, I try to do as many as I can a day.
As many as you can. I mean, is that like...
As many as I can.
5? Is that like 3, 2, sometimes 1?
Depending on the time. So when we blew up really fast on YouTube, I was putting up 5 to 9 a day. Now these are easy shorts. They're not crazy edited at all. It's like a straight shot. If you've watched any of my content, a lot of my videos are just one straight shot, boom and done, right? And so they're very easy to make. So that's how I'm able to put up so many a day. And when I did that, I don't know if something clicked with the algorithm or what happened, but we just so many of them went viral, and our growth was crazy. So that's why it's worth it, because I see it working.
Gotcha. Yeah. And, you guys were considering this a business. So you are putting in what needs to be done to feed that algorithm. For people that are starting out, social media can feel really overwhelming a lot of times because there's gurus all over the place that are like, you must focus on Instagram. You must focus on TikTok. Get on Threads, whatever, Snapchat, all these things popping up. What is your recommendation if someone asks you what platform to prioritize?
Yeah, people ask me all the time. So I have one simple answer. We only focus on 3 platforms: Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And we post on all 3 of them. And I recommend to everybody to post on all 3 of them, but with the same video. So it's not, I do not cater to a different type of audience on a different platform. I just don't do it. I'm not going to add that extra workload for no reason. So this is our brand. This is what we do. This is the type of content we make. And then I just put that across the 3 platforms. I think it's very valuable to do that because each platform is its own entity and gives its own opportunities. So whether you start working with brands, they want to do a TikTok campaign. Well, if you're focusing just on Instagram, you don't even have a chance to get that TikTok campaign. And then now YouTube shorts are becoming a big thing. Brands are now seeing the value in that, so they're putting money into that. So if you slept on YouTube the whole time and just did maybe TikTok and Instagram, then you would not have that opportunity. So if you put yourself on all 3 platforms, it just triples the amount of money that you can make. That's how I look at it. Opposed to just I'm just on Instagram. And I'm like, you're missing so many opportunities.
Hey friends, pardon the interruption. This is a sponsored episode and it's time for a short ad break. I love spending time outside with my kids, especially when we're traveling in the RV. Recently, we had a blast trying out some of Elikai Outdoors' amazing outdoor games. Their games are inspired by nature and are incredibly durable, which means you can create lasting memories with your loved ones. And the best part? They're carrying cases. They're compact enough to take on the road with you. Be sure to check them out at elikai.com/RVQueens and use the code RVQueens10 to enjoy a discount of 10% off your order. I'm really glad that you said that about posting the one video to all the platforms, because about a year ago, I started looking into like, what does this take to be a content creator? And that frustration I mentioned earlier of like, why do I have to create different things for different platforms? It was really like annoying to me. I'm like, why aren't people just creating one? And like, why can't you just like put them on all? And that is when I found your and Jimmy's course. And that is the reason I bought your course. Full disclosure, I'm a student of yours. You already know this, but the audience doesn't. And it's like, it's brilliant, but it's what like no one else is talking about. So I'm really glad that you say that because it's like, work smarter, not harder, you know?
Me and Jimmy are always baffled when we see people that, you know, and I follow a couple that are, because Instagram was our weakest platform and I hated it. I'm like, why is it so hard to grow? So I was looking at Instagram people, you know, like they give you tips and tricks and all that. And they were just Instagram. And I was like, that's so odd because there's other opportunities as well, like YouTube and TikTok. And they never even talked about it. And so we knew when we created our course, like it was a no-brainer, like take advantage of all the platforms. And as we started working with brands, it was like, absolutely, like we need to teach people, like post on all three platforms. And then people also post on Facebook and this and that, but we focus on where the money is. And we've worked with so many brands now and not one in the past 18 months said anything about Facebook. So I just don't put any energy there. I would like to, you know, give that some energy, but I'm just like, I don't got the time. So I hardly ever, unless it transfers when I post on Instagram and it goes on Facebook, but I don't ever really post there, like intentionally.
I'm not going to like ask you about like the specific tactics of this, but I will say like you give really good tactical how-tos in your course about like, here's how you make the one and then you download it and then you blah, 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 especially for people that are starting out. So little plug there.
That stupid Snap Tick and Snap Insta, I could not figure it out. And then finally someone showed me in person and I go, I'm putting that in the course because I couldn't figure it out. And I go, if I can't figure it out, I'm sure other people can't figure it out unless I'm just absolutely dumb. I don't know. But there's a lot of little clicks, you know, and if you don't know.
I used to be a UX designer. So I used to like help design mobile apps and stuff like that. And Snap Insta like makes me want to pull all my hair out because I'm like, who is this? Somebody, just makes me crazy. Okay. So let me start pulling out some of your genius. If you could narrow down content creation into your top 10 tips, what would you say?
So the first one, hands down, which is what was a huge thing for us, was treat it like a business. All over your social media, treat it like a business. Otherwise, it's just like a time-consuming hobby. Like serious. Like if you treat it like a business, you're like, okay, we're gonna have a strategy. We're gonna post every day. We're gonna do this. Like it just changes your mindset completely. For us, it changed our mindset and how we look at social media. Instead of just like, this is what I ate today. This is what's going on. It's like, okay, I have to create videos that brands can see themselves in. Because if we want to work with brands, we have to let them see how they can see themselves in our content. And that was huge. That was absolutely huge because we've done it for years and it was never treated like a business and we never went anywhere. And as soon as we made that mind shift into, all right, we want to make money from this, it all changed. So first tip. Game changer. Second tip is figure out like what your niche is. You know, like you need to know what kind of content you're going to create because if you create fitness, food, RV life, finance, people have no idea what they're going to get when they come to your channel. So figuring out your niche. Now, it may take a little time to really hone in on what it is, but to keep people coming back, they need to know what kind of content to expect when they come back, right? Because I know we watch so-and-so for fitness. And then they start putting up other stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to see that. And then I stop watching them. So you have to be predictable. Now, of course, get creative with the way you're doing it. But no, like if we're an RV travel family, I'm not going to start putting up, I don't know, finance stuff or camera reviews, because then it's like totally off. So that's huge. That's huge for a lot of people. 3 would be to make your life easier. Figure out the content ahead of time and brainstorm, come up with those pillars like I talked about, and then go down the line. Okay, if I'm going to be doing cooking, I'm going to do recipes, I'm going to make desserts. And so how many desserts? Let's come up with 10 desserts. Let's batch shoot as much as possible, because then you're never, and I hate when I'm in this position, is shoot, I need to put up a video. What can we make? And then you're scramble. Then you compromise the quality, you compromise everything, because it's not intentional. So batch shooting, creating it, and then even scheduling out, like getting ahead of the content is huge, and it's less stressful, and it's a time saver. Number 4 would be consistent. If you want brands to look at your channel and they see big gaps from when you posted, they're going to be like, they're not taking this seriously. They're flaky, whatever. And brands have totally, like, I've heard other people say like, I'm not consistent enough. The brand doesn't want to work with me because it doesn't look serious, whatever. So be consistent. And I'm definitely not a stickler on 9 a.m. every single day, 9 and 5. I don't do that. I'm not disciplined enough to do that. I try to post in obvious times, early in the morning, after dinner, maybe midday around lunchtime. When I was posting a ton, like 9 a day, I literally would go like every hour, 10 minutes. Like I'd start at 6 in the morning for YouTube, and literally every hour. And something happened. It went crazy. Like it worked. Now it is a lot of work to put up that much content. But like I said, if you're ahead of it and you're you're like prepared, then it doesn't seem so overwhelming. But I found that when, I follow Gary Vee and Alex Hormozy, and they're like, content, like be a content machine. The way we look at it, you could put up 1 a day, and you have 1 chance of that being successful, right? Or you could put up 3 to 9, and you have multiple chances of something hitting off, right? And then when you get those things that hit up a little more than your normal views, that's where you can start growing. And we all want to grow, obviously, like the bigger you get. Like we are coming close to 1 million on 2 different platforms right now, on TikTok and YouTube, which is mind-blowing. And that's only because of the amount of work that we put into it. Now, if we put 1 a day, would we be anywhere close to that? Guaranteed not. Like, there's no way. So it's a direct reflection of how much you put into it and where you're at. And that's what I try to tell people. And yeah, if you treat it like a business though, and this is your job, then it's worth it to put the effort in and create more content. Let's see. 5, your analytics. You have to know your analytics, and you have to go in the back end, and you have to see what does your channel look like? This is the health of your channel. Like if you're putting up content and it's not hitting, and you look in the analytics, you say like, oh, that one didn't perform at all. Let me not make any more of those type of videos, because it doesn't resonate with the audience. Or if these type of videos are always like doing really well, then I should really double down on that and make more content like that. Like Mr. Beast does it all the time. Like it's like, if it's not working, don't do it. And if it is, double down. And Sean Cannell, I studied Sean Cannell, oh my God, for so long. This was years ago. Like we'd be in Southeast Asia, and I would just Sean Cannell, all his videos. I wanted to like absorb as much information as possible. So that was it. It was just, you have to know your analytics, because if you don't look at your analytics, you have no idea like what's going on, and you can never grow because you just don't know. You don't know. Like, so analytics are absolutely huge on every single platform. I think YouTube is definitely the most in-depth analytics that you're going to find out there. I love it. I geek out on it. I love to see what's working. The CTR, which is the click-through rate, how many people are clicking on your thumbnail. So all that stuff is very valuable, because what gets measured gets improved. And that's Sean Cannell's little saying, and I absolutely love it because I'm like, it's so true. 6 is mindset. You know, what is it? Who said, whatever, if you think you can, or you think you can't, you're right. Right. And so whether you have a mindset of imposter syndrome, right? And you're like, I don't know, I don't belong here. It's oversaturated. Everybody could feel that way, but you have to say, screw that. Like, I belong here. I have my own message, my own mission, my own brand, my own look, you know, like everybody has a place and everybody has the chance to build their own audience. So never feel like, oh, but everybody's so big already and I'm just starting. It's like your mindset is like, I'm going to kill this. This is what I want. This is what I want my future to be. I'm going to go for it. And you have to have that confidence. And yeah, in the beginning, your videos aren't going to be the best and everybody's learning and fumbling. Get those skills, like learn the skills as quickly as possible. That way you decrease the fumbling time. And that's me and Jimmy were always like, we're obsessed with decreasing that time where I'm like the growing pains. Like, I don't got time for that. You know, it's life is too short. You know, I want it now. 7 would be branding. 7 would be branding because ultimately, as you do this and you're considering it like a business, you need to be your brand, whether it's you, whether it's a family, whether it's cooking, whatever it is. Like some people don't show their face, whatever your brand is, own it and create it. Like whether it's your logo, your colors, your vibe, like when people watch your content, what do they feel? Like, how does your content make them feel? Are they inspired? Do you make them laugh? Are you very intellectual or like motivational? Like, what is it that they get out of you? And really play off that. And like, whether it be like for us, a lot of hot pink, right? And so, and I guess I have a lot of energy. People are always commenting, my God, I love your energy. And so people know when they come to our channel, they're going to get a girl that probably talks a lot. She talks really fast and she talks pretty loud. It's predictable, right? And so when they come to your channel, what is it that they can expect over and over again? And why do they keep coming back for more? So your brand is huge, and it's huge for brands to know, like, I want to work with that. I love what they stand for. I love what they're about. I want our brand to work with them. And so that's really important. 9, there's so many ways to make money, guys. Like, there's so many ways to make money. When you start out, you could do UGC work, affiliates, brand ambassador. When you get a little bit bigger, you can do brand deals where it's so lucrative that it's mind blowing. It's absolutely mind blowing how lucrative it is for making, like, I consider it like home videos. You know, it's like you don't need a degree, you don't need tons of education. You just have to need a freaking phone with a camera. Creativity, or you don't even have that much creativity. Just start doing it and you'll figure it out. But there's so many ways to make money that you can leave your 9 to 5 behind and do this. And it's a dream life. Like we seriously pinch ourselves. We're like, this is crazy. How did this happen? And then 10, which is what you talked about, is post on all 3 platforms, because each platform is its own, it presents its own opportunities. So whether there's a campaign on TikTok, a campaign on Instagram, don't cut yourself short by thinking it's easier to post on one platform, because it's not. You just take that one video, you do erase the watermark, you put it across all 3, and now you have a presence on all 3. Some will grow faster than others. You'll find different audiences in each one, but it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Post on all 3. And that's kind of my top 10 tips. But the bonus is it's possible for everybody. Like, you don't need pink hair. I mean, just look on YouTube, look on all these platforms. Everybody looks different. You know, there's no like, oh, see, that's a consistent look and that's what gets popular. No, that's BS. Everybody has their own. If Hugh and Courtney are in here, awesome family, traveling in the RV full time as well. And they have their own vibe, right? And so they're building their own community. And so we each have our own special sauce that someone can connect with.
I think the authenticity, I mean, it's something that I'm sure people love about you. I love it about your family's content, because it's like, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a fresh wind of like energy, positive, high vibe energy, like in all of your videos. Your branding is on point, but also it's authentic to you. Like, I've met you in real life. That's actually how you are. on the other hand, like if you're a CFO, right? And you want to talk about money and finance, and maybe your personality is a little more calm, like just be authentically you. And because that's what's going to attract other people to your content. It's not necessarily trends. It's not necessarily like doing everything right. It's actually like you.
That's what's so beautiful about it. And that should have been one of my tips, is be authentic. Because if you ever try to be like somebody else, right, it gets old real fast. And you're like, wait a minute, this is not me. Why am I trying to do this? And being you is what is magnetic to people, right? And people can tell. Like if you're trying to be somebody else, people can tell. It looks awkward. Like that doesn't feel like you. If you're trying to be, if you're like a calm energy and you're trying to be like me, like it would be weird. If I'm trying to be like somebody else, and it would be weird. So I like embrace who you are, because that is so special.
A few questions that I wrote down as you were giving your top 10 tips, and then we'll talk about where people can connect with you online and buy your course. Okay, so whenever you talked about like being smart about batching your content and taking the time to really create a bunch at once and like schedule it, and that's kind of what helps keep you sane. I'm curious to hear the time spent on like multiple posts per day versus engaging with like comments and liking and all that kind of stuff on platforms. What's your take on the time spent on each of those?
I need to spend way more time engaging with the comments. I try to heart all the comments, but that is seriously like, that's the special sauce, is when people comment, you need to comment back, right? Because they're taking time out of their day, their busy day, to comment. And so that is super important. So I have not been doing that as much as I want to. So I need to carve out more time for that. And then, so say right after this call, me and Jimmy we already have a bunch of ideas of videos, and we've been traveling quite a bit. So we haven't been posting nearly as much as we want to. So this is why it's so important, guys, because we're going to take a few hours. We did a couple yesterday, but we're going to take a few hours, and we have a bunch of ideas. We're going to shoot them all, or a bunch. We're going to try to shoot as much as we can, because we know doing that, it's like front loading all the content we can put out. So a couple hours, if it was a perfect world, I would spend probably 5 to 10 hours one day out of the week and shoot all the content for at least a week or two. And so that 5 to 10 hours would give us it would open up our 2 weeks, because then we wouldn't be creating on the fly all the time, which gets stressful. And then you're not intentional with the content you create. Like when you pay attention to your analytics, then you know like what works and what doesn't. So I'd be way more intentional on what works, create more of that, which would help you grow. I think if you were to talk about timing out of the day, 20 minutes addressing comments, right? And building that community. Because say when you comment on someone's video and they don't get back to you, you're like, whatever. But if they get back to you with a meaningful comment, then you're like, oh, you start a conversation. And engagement is huge on any platform, right? So, and I mean, for us, we love the community. And we love, getting people to and they even talk to each other in comments and stuff like that. And so that's a huge thing. Otherwise you have empty followers, and you don't want that. You want it to be like an actual community, an actual audience. I don't want to get 1 million people, 1 million followers, and it's just it's just empty. That doesn't feel good, I want it to be like a community that we're building. So you definitely want to take the time out, 20 minutes a day, which is not a lot, right? And just get back to as many comments as possible. And then the batch shooting, if you could take one day out of the week and batch shoot content, you set yourself up. And then maybe another day out of that week, you do another 5 hours, and you set yourself up for another 2 weeks. So this work smarter, not harder, right? Right now we're working harder, not smarter. And so today is our pivot where we're sitting still for a minute and we get to actually catch up.
When you're looking at your analytics that you really emphasized, I think that's huge as well. How often are you adjusting your content pillars that you mentioned? You have 3 content pillars, right? You're kind of staying in these lines. how often are you pivoting a content pillar based on analytics of like, this topic is not really performing? Has that happened to you? Does that happen? Talk about that.
Yeah. So, and I always add actually, because I'm like, oh, that would be cool to do something like that. So if you look at your analytics and you see, or just views, really, like if you look at your views and you're like, this one tanked. Why did that tank? Is it not resonating, or is it just not interesting? You know, like it's just not good. So if I see something over and over is not working, then I'm like, we just won't do any more of that, right? But as I would like, you know, maybe consume some people's content, I go, oh, that's really funny. And then I'll add like, let's do something like that in our own way, right? So researching other people is actually really good because, you know, there's so much creativity out there and there's only so much in our head, right? So when you see what other people are doing, you're like, oh, I could do like a little spin-off on that in our own way. And now you have a whole new pillar that you can create content about. So like I said, we literally jotted down yesterday, I think 15 different sort of pillars that we can play off of. And now that we're a family doing this, it's a lot. There's so many ideas, whether it's like father-son things, mother-daughter, adventure as a family, you know, now we're doing fitness because we're doing the 75 hard. So there's so many things. I mean, honestly, there's just endless amounts of things that you can create content about. And then from there, if you're experimenting, then you see what works, what doesn't. And if it's really successful, then okay, let's double down on that and make more videos about that because it's really hitting with the audience. We still have our basic like 5 that we started with, which is like RV life, RV hacks, you know, our kids' education, stuff like that. But we're always adding to it. We're always like, now we have like 15. So now we're going to be very busy.
I could see that working well when your audience gets familiar enough to like trust you, you know what I mean? And know you and understand what you're about. Like the fact that you guys started with 3 to 5 content pillars and really established yourself in like travel space, RV space, home, like world schooling, all that stuff. To me, it makes sense that now at this level, you can add as many as you want. But don't you think like if someone's like, you know, maybe he's got 1,500 followers on Instagram or something, like they should really stay focused on their like 3 to 5 for a while instead of like
well, of course, because those 3 to 5 are going to overwhelm you. Yeah, the 3 to 5 alone are going to be, but it's a great way. So the reason why we think those pillars are so important is, first off, like it keeps your channel focused in a niche, right? It keeps your channel like tight. So because it's so easy to go, oh, let's make a video about that. Or, oh, I saw so-and-so made a video. Let's do one like that. And people fall down that rabbit hole of going all over the place. And so if you create those pillars, right, and it just keeps you sort of in check, and then you can, and then maybe you realize, I don't like those. And then so you change them, you know, but it helps you in the creation process because it's a lot. It's it's stressful. You know, when you're creating content, you're like, I'm putting myself out there. What if people hate it? You know? So, but you need sort of like a guideline, and having that just keeps you sort of like a little focused. So that way it's not overwhelming. I think that's what it is. Creating those pillars keeps you like, gives you the focus so you don't get overwhelmed. Cause then you're just like, I don't know what to do. So it's supposed to make your life easier.
And I think whenever you kind of pair that with, I think it was your number one point was, when you start taking this seriously as a business and thinking through the brand lens, when you said focus on creating content that you want to be sponsored. So let's say travel, for example. If you want RV campgrounds to sponsor you, like start posting about RV campgrounds, right? So whenever you kind of like pair those two where you have your content pillars and then also intentionally thinking through what brand deals do I want to come into play here, kind of gives you some guidelines.
Exactly. I tell people all the time, like, to get brand deals, put your, what do you have around the house that you like to use already? And then start making content with that. And just practice that way, you know? It's like practice with the stuff that's in your house. And that's the easiest way. And then you can start getting the hang of it.
Why don't you tell us where people can connect with you online and how they can buy your course?
So you can always find us at Trying Something New on any platform. It's all family travel stuff. We try to add a little humor here and there and just try to be fun. And our course, we created a full over 200 class course teaching you everything on how to create content, to put on every platform from like beginning to advanced. We really wanted to help someone that knew nothing about anything and can just pick up their phone and start creating content. Then we go into like deeper stuff where like editing on Adobe and all that kind of stuff. But we love what we do. And we had gotten so many questions from so many people about how to do this, how to do that. We figured the easiest way is create a course. That way they could do it at their own pace. They can get all their questions answered. We have a community of creators where, I love seeing them chat back and forth and helping each other. And if we can chime in and help anybody. So like I said, investing in investing in to get us to shorten that learning curve was ideal. And so that's what we want to do for other people, because I love when people are into it, and you can tell, and then you see it working, and then it's just like comes full circle. So yeah, so it's called the Trying Something New Creator Academy. We're actually going to be adding in some updated, because everything happens in social media so fast and starts changing. So we're going to add some new classes in there to go over stuff that has, been evolving, just to always keep people up to date with staying current.
And as a student, I will give a quick testimonial that your course is comprehensive enough for like people that are super new and like really need to learn the ropes. But then it also goes to the side of video creation. Like when Jimmy starts talking about all the details of video editing, like you can be a wide range of experience and still get a lot of value out of your course. So there you go.
That's cool. Love to hear that.
Oh,
Thank
man.
you.
You are brilliant. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today, Sandi. It was fun to learn from you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. Anytime.
I could talk about this all day.
I know. Alrighty, I will see you on the road. All right, my friends, that concludes today's episode. Thank you so much for being here and for listening and for being an awesome part of the RV Queens community. If you could please like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on, that would be awesome. And if you want to have more conversations like this, you can head to rvqueenspodcast.com/community and find your RV Queens circle today. All right, guys, I'll see you next week, or hopefully I will see you on the road. Bing!